Is it broken? Not yet. Alright, so we've got the case and everything taken apart, and now we're going to do some cleaning. We've got the motherboard here that's very dusty, the CPU fan, the GPU fan, and just some other little extra pieces here that we're just going to give a quick clean up because they need it. And they've all seen better days. Alright guys, so we're going to get ready here to solder. I'm going to make sure my camera allow me to actually zoom in where I want it. Let's see here. Because there's 2 points on which we want to solder to. The first one is right here. See if you can see it. It says R7D3. You can see them right here, these 2 little points right there on my thumbnail. You got to bridge together. And then on the other side here, there's another point, which are, let me see here, R3, or R7, R3, which is right here. I don't know if you can see it, R7, R3, there's 2 little points right there that you gotta solder. So, I've got my soldering iron heated up. It is not the greatest thing in the world. It's kind of janky, but I did get some new solder today, some, let's see if you guys can see that. Got that off of Amazon. It's actually really cheap. It's very thin grade, 8mm, 0.8mm. Does have a flux core in it, which actually makes it great for doing this, and it's very low temp, which is awesome because so is my soldering iron. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of try and do this. See if I can get my soldering iron set up here to even get these points going. So looks like we may have gotten that one right off on the bat. Let's see. Let me clean it up a little bit. Just a little. And look at that. Got it. First try. Just dabbed it. And that's actually really good. So, now to the other side. Let's see here. Get those points again. Right there, little tiny things. Grab my solder again. Put some, clean it up a little bit in my tin. Put a little bit of solder on it, and those ones just do not want to bridge right. Alright, looks like we got it. Yeah, there's a full solder bridge there. Alright. So there's the 2 points that we needed to solder. I couldn't really get too close on them. Again, there was a little one right here. There's another one on the other side of the board. I will post links for all of this on how and where to actually solder these points, because I have a print off here that I'm following that shows my points for a version 1.0 board. It does also describe where to do the solder points for version 1.2 to 1.5, which are both right on top of the board in the same area, but because we have a 1.0, it's on the bottom. So now we're going to put this all back together into the case and everything, and we're going to throw a hexen disc in it and we're gonna try and Tsop flash it. So I'm gonna get this put back together, and we'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so here we are back in the case. Case is fully clean. I went ahead and gave it a little bath and wiped the inside and everything out. So we're going to go ahead and pop these couple pieces just back in here so we can start reassembling this. Like I said previously, you want to keep some of these pieces. Like this piece right here is a, I believe it's a shield. It just helps protect everything, you know, the plastic and the whatnot's from the power supply when the power supply is actually installed. So I'm going to throw that piece back in just because I usually leave it in my systems, because why not? Yeah, it's there for a reason. I should say the same thing about the IO shield, but I pulled that off too though, didn't I? So, oh, whoops, try not to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start throwing this back together. I'm going to get the screws back in the motherboard so the motherboard's held down. And then I'll get the fans put back in and reconnected. Again, try not to do that. And then so we're basically just getting it put back together to a point that I can power it on and verify that the Tsop solder points have been connected and that everything works right. Because this is still just a soft modded system. It'll function like a regular soft modded system. We have to take that Hexen 2019 disc and put it in here and run it and do a Tsop flash. I am going to do a little bit of research before I do that just to make sure what kind of board I'm using, or not board, memory chip that the Tsop is on before I fully put it back together. That way I make sure I'm doing the right Tsop as far as WinBond or anything like that. As far as I can tell, it's not a WinBond, so that should be good to go. But yeah. So I'm just going to keep on trucking here with getting these screws back into the case. And the reason that I make sure all the screws are back in the case because the ground points, some of them, they connect to each other via connections on the board. And they ground each other at certain points. Some people say, oh, well, that's what the IO shield is for, you know, that's you screwing into the IO shield. No, it's not true. I left that piece out, but that's fine. So all of our screw holes are put back in. Grab our power supply. Power supply just has 2 screws holding it in place. So just make sure you put those back in as well. And it just helps align everything back inside the case as well. And I do have the front cover that I'm going to snap back on here. But I've also got to put a couple of other things on here. Let's see here. We've got the IO shield. So that was that tiny little screwdriver. What did I do with that bit? Put it back, didn't I? No, I did not. It's out. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, this fan requires these little Phillips screws when everything else requires Torx bits. So, yeah. Ooh. That's no problem. We've got my toolkit comes with just about everything. That's Helps if you have the right size screwdriver too sometimes, because, you know, or else you strip out a screw. But that's all right. And I'll probably do redoing the thermal paste on these after we get an initial check on the whole system to find out what it is running at. I am expecting it to have far less temperatures or lower temperatures than my system, my green system, just because it has a CPU or a GPU fan in it, and the other systems do not. So let's see if we can get everything lined back up in here. Yeah, looks like it did. Okay. So we've got our fans hooked back up. Let's go ahead and get my power supply hooked back up. That's on there. Let's see here. Where's that piece? Where'd you go, little board? Oh, there you are. It's hiding. All right. You have to take this piece and it hooks into here. Slides in like that. We need to take the face plate, and this has the buttons still in it. I have not done any modifications to this as of yet, so it's just stock colors and everything. We can go ahead and get this snapped back on here, and it just kind of everything lines up and it snaps in, and then ta-da. I guess I can put this piece on first for the open close power buttons, and then we can sneak this little piece in, and it just pops down in there like that. And controller ports. Controller ports back in there, because, you know, you're going to need those controller ports if you actually want to do anything. Now I will say there are some mods in which you sacrifice some of your controller ports. You can have a permanent USB cable installed. Alright guys, so we are back. I went ahead and finished putting that Xbox back together. My camera memory got filled up. So, everything is working again. We got the Xbox back on. Now we're going to go ahead and do a Tsop flash. Now using the Hexen 2019 disc, you come into these options. Now we're going to go option number 3, which is Tsop. We're going to go option number 2, not WinBond. Now it's going to talk about this. It says use this flash on a non-WinBond or a mod chip. When Evo X launches, select your BIOS chip size and Xbox version, and select the preferred BIOS. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Now it's going to start doing all of its little tricky stuff. Now we are using the stock hard drive still because we have to originally set this up using the stock hard drive, or else it can't even boot the Xbox on. But once we get the BIOS flashed, we're going to go ahead and put a different hard drive in it, and we'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so what we've got here is so below are types of specified mod chips. If your system does not have a mod chip, please do not click one of these. We don't have one of those in this right now. What we do have are these. Let's see here. So we can go version 1.0 to 1.5. We're going to do the 512 BIOS. Now, this shows you the different types here. Let's see. These are all some of the different types of BIOSes that you can actually flash into it. Yeah, there's some interesting different selections in here. So we're going to do the 512 BIOS because we have a 1 megabyte chip. Let's see here. You know, I don't think I've ever actually looked at these BIOSes before, so I'm going to do some quick research real quick before I make a selection, and I'll get right back with you guys. Alright, so I went ahead and did a little bit of research. So from what I can tell, the X2 5035 F&G, which is the one I'm going to be going with, is for the Executor 2 mod chip. It was what it was originally designed for, but since I have a 1 megabyte BIOS chip in this, I can go ahead and do it. So instead of doing one of these other ones, we're going to go ahead and get this going. So we're going with the 212K or 512K BIOS version 1.0 to 1.5. We're going with the X2.5035 F&G, and let's see what we get figured out here. So it's going to say doing a fake Duo X2, hit Y to flash, find out if it's working. Ooh, it's doing something. Says it's erasing. It should be erasing the stock BIOS. And then it should pop up saying it's going to flash the X2, flashing BIOS now for the fake Duo X2, which I actually just bought a Duo X2 on eBay. Should arrive in the mail here soon. That'll be awesome. Then I can do this install for real. But let's see, it's going. If there was going to be any issues, we would see it. Turns off. Of course, my camera goes all sorts of screwy with focus. The Xbox turned itself off. Now, go ahead and turn it back on. Executor 2, config live loading. So that tells us that it is been flashed with a new BIOS for the Executor 2. Now it's going to load up the blubber animation. I'm not sure. Yeah, look at that. Executor rocks my box. And we don't even have an Executor chip in this Xbox. It's just because we have the 1 megabyte BIOS chip in it. Could not do this with my other Xboxes. It would just brick it and crash, which is awesome. So now we just gotta wait for that to load up. It is still trying to load the Hexen disk, which is fine because we still have some extra little things we've got to do. So let's just let this finish loading. There it goes. Alright, so now we have it's done. Now I've got to go ahead and switch over the hard drives because the Tsop flash is done. That's it. That's all you got to do. Once I put the other hard drive in it, we'll go ahead and do the disk lock, unlock, and EEPROM backup, and whatnots. So, yeah. So here's setting up a new hard drive. Basically, we would go into this and we say clean C. After that, we're going to go ahead and set a new disk. And crap, I don't remember the code for this. I'm actually going to have to look it up. Oh man, I want to say it's. No? Passcode is incorrect. it's a combination of one of these. I guess I'll have to look this up real quick. Give me a moment. Alright, so we went ahead and got this fully set up now. Believe I can actually do some adjustments with that. So I've went ahead and completely rebuilt the stock hard drive that came with this system from, you know, original. Here is the stock dashboard that you basically come into after you've done all this kind of stuff, but I prefer, let's see here, right there, and this is the one that I like. As you can see, it's very nice. It kind of stays with the whole Xbox theme as far as, you know, what it looks like, how it feels. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the other hard drive out because this one has been rebuilt. So I'll shut this down. Oh, I forgot to grab the disk out again. But I'm going to, just got that shut down, I'm going to pull the other hard drive off real quick. I'll actually kind of angle this down here, see if I can get it for you guys. Because right now the stock hard drive is just sitting on the old hard drive. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off real quick. As you can see, I just have it sitting here like this. So I'll pull the ID cable out, Molex power, and when you're setting up your new hard drive, you do have to make sure that the posts on it are set for cable select, or else you will have some issues when you actually boot up, because then it won't know what to do with the actual process. So double check those things. I have verified that this hard drive works via my computer. I have a hard drive adapter that I use. Let's get this plugged in here. So I do know this works. It's been fully flashed and cleaned off. Come on now. Why won't you go in your home? There we go. Try to get it better in the line. Alright. So, new hard drive in. Let's give it a turn on. Turn it on, see what she says. It's going to probably pop up with an error telling me that, you guys probably want to see, that the hard drive is non-functioning and needs to be rebuilt. But that's fine. We use a hexen disk that'll fix that problem. No issue. Yeah, we do have a support on changing the flubber, because that was a different startup screen than the last one. That's pretty cool. So now we're just waiting for this to pop up. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And it is loading the hexen disk again, because we have to rebuild this hard drive as well. See, there it goes. So let me kind of adjust you guys here a little bit. You can actually see it pretty well. Okay, so we want to go down to Tsop Tools, and we're going to go to Chipped and Flashed Xbox Upgrades, and we're going to go down to New Disk. Now, depending on where you're at, I'm here in US, so I have NTSC. If you're basically anywhere else, you have PAL, and you can go back and forth between those. If you really wanted to, some of the options in there allow you to force it to change. But we're going to go ahead and do a new disk. And I found out the password. It is AYXB for future reference. Oh no, it changed on me. Or is it YAXB? Oh, let me double check now. I got myself all messed up. It's AYBX. So AYBX. And there it goes. Okay. So this says, use this option to build a new disk on a Tsop or chipped Xbox. It installs the blah 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 and gives you a backdoor. Use it to format FNG partitions, of which we're going to be creating both of those. And you can just kind of basically hit yes through all of this. It says if you have a soft mod, this will remove your soft mod and you'll no longer be able to boot this disk. But we are Tsop, so we don't have to worry about that now. So now it pops this back up, and this is telling us how to do it. So it's both triggers and the start button together. And then it's going to make you verify. You're sure you want to do this? Everything on your disk will be lost. Verify that again. Now it's formatting the stock partitions. Now we do want to format an F drive, so it's going to say hit both triggers and back to skip that, or both triggers and start to do it. So let's start that. And this one can take a little bit of time, depending on your hard drive. I have a 500 gig in there, but it says it is preparing my new drive. Both triggers and the start button again. And there it goes. Now this is going to take a few minutes, so I'll probably just let it sit here, and I'll maybe fast forward it, because it's again, it's 500 gig hard drive. It's going to take a little bit to actually get through all that. So enjoy this slow ass load. Alright, so as you can see, that's gone ahead and finished loading there. Now you'll pop up back to the X Unleash thing here. So now it's going to give you the options to set up your hard drive. So what we've got here is, I've got a 500 gig hard drive, and I want basically everything to be sitting on one drive. Now, so there's 458 gigs of total space that I'll have as my F drive, I believe, because I mean, that's basically all my drive. That's where all my games are going to be sitting. I've got over 100 original Xbox games that I'm going to be putting on this system, because why not? That'll make three total Tsop flashed original Xboxes. One is my green machine. I have a clear crystal case. I'll have this 1.0 board. I have another 1.0 board that isn't modded or anything. It's just a stock board. I've got I believe it's a 1. And everybody says that the mythical 1.5 board doesn't actually exist, but I have a prototype board in the revision release time and dates and manufacturer for what was said to be the release of the 1.5 revision. Everybody says, oh, it's just a 1.4, and that's all it is. It's just a 1.4 board. They went from 1.4 to the 1.6A, 1.6B. But I don't know. I'm not going to pop open my prototype board because it's completely unopened. Why would I want to do that? But anyway, I've got my drive set up here. So this is my F drive, is what it's going to be, 456 gigs. I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and you want to hit Y. I know my camera really sucks on this. Hit Y to format that. It is formatting the partition, and then it says it's done. I always like to do it twice, so I'm going to hit it again just to verify, and it says okay, it has been formatted. So now I hit back. Now this point does take a minute for it to reload. Again, it's going to reload the hexen disk, at which point we can eject it. So I'll let that. Alright, so there it is, loaded up again. And again, it goes straight to the hexen disk. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, pull the hexen disk out, and give it a full startup, and we'll see what it looks like. Sure you guys can see that. Executor 2 config live up 5 loading. And here's a blubber animation, one of many that's actually going to be available for configuration in the actual settings. Do all that kind of stuff, but this is it. that's it. There's the system. 500 gig hard drive. I'm happy. Now it's just a lot of editing and stuff like that to get this back out there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being patient. I know this is going to be a long video, probably about an hour, but it is a full tutorial on softmod using Rocky 5 and then a Tsop flash and solder of a 1.0 original Xbox with the X2 BIOS flash. I think it looks pretty good. You guys tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later.